As you can tell right now, we got Tom Payton on green, Clay Dame on orange, Glenn Burden on blue, Jay Latham on yellow, and Robert Bishop on purple. We have 3 setouts currently right now. Those 3 setouts are, if I'm not mistaken, David Horton, Paul Woosley, and Randy Kirtley. Randy Kirtley's on deck. He'll be controlling the timeout button there. The only time they're supposed to hit that's if they're underneath the bridge. So I'm going to say a quick announcement to the racers, and we're going to get going green racing. All right, racers, watch your lights. 5-minute heats as per usual here at Lanes Raceway. New track modifications. We're hoping everything goes well. For all these track marshals, we shouldn't have any issues whatsoever keeping the track rolling. Beautiful, beautiful. We can see Paul Woosley there enjoying the nice gentle breeze from our fan that we have put here at Lanes Raceway to keep the air circulating in here. Keeps it a nice, probably around 72-ish degrees here at Lanes Raceway. Of course, it's a lot better than it was the first time we tried doing this. Of course, you can also see that fan up there in the upper right-hand portion of your screen, but the upper left-hand portion of that. And you can see that fan rolling on all our racers, keeping them nice and cool. It looks like all our racers giving each other plenty of room there, as they're all about a man length apart from the driver's station so that people can see through the track. We got us a nice rhythm going here. The track's a lot easier to drive now. This is part of the beauty between letting the people run a live track versus hitting the button all the time. They can get into rhythm and everything ends up working out quite well, especially once everybody kind of follows along the same kind of pace or above pace lap there. We can see my wife there quickly getting Clay Dame's car put back on there on orange. He's representing that new body. Today, since Bruce is gone, he is the only person today running American Muscle. He's running a Chrysler LMP style body. So exciting to see we still got somebody representing America out there. The majority of people representing Germany and Italy. And Randy Kirtley perfectly timing that bridge call there, as it was too much for Chelsea to be able to get up underneath that bridge in a timely fashion. Do not want the guys jamming their hands up underneath the bridge. We got those LED strips. For one, it'll rip them down, but the main reason is I don't want any of them getting their arms stuck on some of that glass that the LEDs are. Those LEDs are little square pieces of glass, and they can cut you. So, see Randy Kirtley there quickly. He looks under the bridge, gets a nice glance. This is like what you want to see. You want to glance to see if you can get to it if it's in a readily available position. But then after that glance is done, then hit the track call button. So this is going to make the race go a little bit smoother, and at the same aspect, it's also going to keep our track marshals from getting hurt, and also keep people from getting too upset about wrecks taking place. And that was a wide open hit we seen there. Glenn Burden saying bridge, 2 of them. And I heard it. I heard it from in here, so you guys probably heard it too. As the microphone's just to the right of Randy there on the back glass, about where you can see David Horton's feet there. As he's track marshaling the donut portion of the track. There's David Horton there. David Horton not in our series, but he comes to have a good time every other week or so. And he lies. You can order 605. Has to be laser etched on the side of the can, and or a Falcon 7. If you're racing any of those 3 motors, you can surely come on in here and race with these guys. 332nd axle, of course. No 2mm. And it just costs you $5 extra to get in the race. So the guys that buy to get in the series, they're buying to increase how much their payouts are, and also not to mention increasing their payout, but they also get into the races about $5 cheaper. Tom Payton out there to an early lead there, 40 laps. He's back in good mix here as he's probably worked out his kinks there with the Mazzetti there on green lane, turning a 3.588 his best time. Currently out there out of all the guys. Glenn Burton there right on his tail, though, with a 3.616. That's your second best time there on blue, turning the median to 3.81. He's right there behind him just a couple laps. Glenn really got his car worked on a little bit. I talked to him before we started racing, and of course he has, I believe, swapped back to the Sky Active, if I'm not mistaken. Or he might, nope, he's actually running the CLK Mercedes there that he bought a couple weeks ago. I knew he was going to either do that one or the other one, and it's good to see that he's chose the old Mercedes. I like the way that the wedge of that Mercedes is. It keeps her right down pretty low, and of course handles quite well. See Clay Dane, he's got his fresh body on there. He's on orange. He's turning 49 laps. Not seeing him wreck a whole lot, but right there up in the donut portion of the track. I don't know what was going on there. Like he was having some issues with something. Minute and 8 seconds left to go in this first heat. Of course, we're running 11 heats total because we got a couple ghosts in there, so we make sure we have plenty of track marshals to help tee out. You can't do it all, that's for sure. Already with the track modifications here, we've seen our first glimpse of how well the guys run more smoother Thursday. We've seen Bruce Bullington and some of our regulars there on Thursday come in and race it. Hardly any wrecks taking place now underneath Dead Man's Corner because of the opposite turn being, or camber being taken out of the track. Now it's a little bit flatter down there. They're able to take that Dead Man's Corner a little bit better. Currently knocking off the old track call thing there. I didn't tighten her up good enough on it. Yeah, she slipped right off the side of that chair. That's on me, but nonetheless, they'll get that probably fixed out here for too long. I think everything's going well. They're not having to wait too long to get their cars put back on. Very little amount of track calls being called this early on too. With the extra ghosts, that helps a lot. Also, 11 seconds left in this heat of this total 5-minute heat here. And Tom Payton out in the lead, followed by Glenn Burden and Jay Latham. Clay Dame there in 4th position on orange, and Robert Bishop in 5th, running neck and neck with each other. After that heat, we're going to take a quick look here at our current standings in the series and let you guys look at that for the next couple of minutes. But it shows you over there to the far left something that we've updated here, how many races these individuals have raced up until this weekend. So, of course, Glenn Burden tonight, he's going to get his full 8 of 8 tonight. But before that, he only had 7 races done. Randy's going to be on his 7th after tonight, and so is Paul Woosley. But that just helps you kind of understand the points there and why some of these guys are so much higher up than others. But anyways, keep an eye out on that, and we'll be right back with you. 6 seconds left to go before we go by green, and we see Jay Latham in a dead sprint to get to his controller there. Okay. Bit of an issue there. Issue solved. We got a urgent track call from Glenn Burden as his car came off there in the back stretch. Right now on white and black, we can see Clay Dame and Robert Bishop really giving it everything they can to keep each other off each other. 71 and 71. Randy Curley now in the mix there on red lane, turning 3.417. Clay earlier, he had showed me that, hey, am I up there pretty well on 3.5, 3.7 seconds? I said, well, it's about 3.3, 3.4 seconds is about what you want. And anyways, we can see Randy Curley turning that 3.4. I ran Clay Dame's car there on red lane and actually got it into the 3.4. So I think it was a 3.487, which is very, very minor whenever we're talking about the grand scheme of things. If you can run that consistently speaking, you'll have no issues whatsoever turning great laps on red. But we can also see that Clay's there on white lane turning 3.693. That's respectful. Definitely a little bit above the median there. Tom Payton also on blue turning a little bit above the median there of 3.530. If you're in the 3.6, 3.7 range, that's about median for most of the racers. We see Glenn Burden there at 3.8, Jay Latham 3.7. Like I said, well now his best lap 3.762. But the medians there, they're always around 3.7, 3.8, usually for about the median for the racers. We can see 3.6s out there with Tom Payton and Randy Curley, both running those respectively. But like I said, those are some of the outliers there with people that either have better rhythm on the track or they're brand new motors, brand new brushes, who knows? It could be a many of things that make these cars run so smooth. I was spinning a car's rear end earlier at Clay's and it was so freed up, it doesn't surprise me that it doesn't have a whole lot of brake. I believe he's probably ran through the majority of his brushes. But everybody running really, really well tonight. I guess because we're trying to run a full green track here, representing for what we see here. These racers, they are the cream of the crop here at Lanes Raceway. It's the best that we got. And these guys definitely are showing their true colors here tonight as they're keeping their cars on. Of course, last Sunday was a rough week, rough night for L&P Thunder. We ran about 2 hours over. A lot of stoppages taking place. And it wasn't so necessarily the guy's fault so much as it was the way that we started the race. But nonetheless, we got through that. Now we're coming out the other side. And hopefully this will stick for a while and everything work out well. Right now I'm seeing some really good racing here. Not to mention between Clay and Robert. But, I mean, Jay Latham and Glenn Burden's got themselves a little bit of a battle going on. Clay Dame, Jay, and Glenn all on their 45th lap. Tom Payton, though, showing out tonight. A little bit, 49, 50 laps or so. And Randy Curley there also turning likewise. We get a car there off on the back stretches. We see Tom Payton quickly get that car put back on blue. And that was his car. A little bit aggressive coming out of the horseshoe. Wasn't able to really see it too well as we now got extra track markers here. Paul Woosley there kind of making it where we would have a difficult time seeing it. But nonetheless, we see plenty of action here through the S-turn and around the donut. And that's racing, folks. I mean, these guys are holding it pretty true. Like I said, Jay Latham and Glenn Burden, they're getting really, really tight, close together within 3 laps to each other. And Robert Bishop and Clay Dame, like I said, likewise, about 5 or so laps between each other. It's all about just keeping your car on. If you can keep your car on, our track marshals ain't got to put you on. Sometimes they can put you on really, really quick. If we get 3 cars coming off over top of the bridge, that is definitely a track call there. You don't hardly ever see that, but Tom Payton's car just straight went off the bridge right there. It got into the backside of Robert Bishop's car on the S-turns and went for a little bit of a ride. Glenn Burton also getting caught up in that wreck there on the purple lane. One of our little Rumble racers right there. He's playing him some pinball. They had a pretty good race today. That was Wild Weston you've seen there in the video. He is coming off of a fresh race. Finished 3rd place today. See if he can come back and get that 2nd place like last week. We're going to have a rookie Rumble race here that involves the adults after this. I believe the kids are getting involved in that also. Another track call there. Jay Latham had a breakout on his orange lane. Seconds left to go in this second heat of 11. Making pretty good time. Only about 400 or so drop frames tonight. But I can hear the quarters being dropped in the pinball machines. Only a couple days left to go for our monthly tournament, and then payout will ensue right afterwards. And we'll have that announcement there on Facebook Live and Facebook for all those that's got involved in that. Wife getting a little bit overwhelmed there in the circle or donut portion of the track. So we had 3 come off again right there. Some close racing between Jay Latham, Robert Bishop, and Glenn Burton. Robert Bishop and Glenn Burton right there through the S-turns, really racing each other hard. As we get a little bit of a cluster up here between some of the racers. Robert Bishop getting kind of hung up there in the horseshoe as Paul Woosley goes to try to get him figured out and put back on. And we get a red flag rotation. On this red flag rotation, we'll leave you with our current pinball scores here and be right back with you. Screen's trying to catch up here. Had to help the track marshal out there. I think we caught him off guard there, but it was a quick catch error. We'll see Paul Woosley now in control of the button. Seems like we might be having a guide flag issue here, possibly. Something's going on here. Gonna go make a quick check and see what's going on. Be right back with you. All right, so Jay having some issues like we've been having here with the Mid-America weighted guide flags. And anyways, underneath the track there, the weights will step out of those guide flags after they get hit a few times, you get bent, and it pushes those weights out. Now you got to press them back in either with super glue, or you can press them back in temporarily with a pair of pliers, and it keeps them from getting caught up into the track, because these slots are literally, that's it, very, very tight. You can see from this sander how tight those clearances are. And a guide flag sander, and he'll be able to sand that brass down enough that it shouldn't catch anymore. Tom Payton still on the lead with 169 laps, followed by Glenn Burden with 164. Median of a 3.66, not to even be touched in this current heat, as he is out in the lead right now currently. Best lap of 3.531. Randy Kirtley having the best lap of a 3.420. So they're running neck and neck with each other. Tom has a chance here to be running for the lead, it looks like, and keeping it. As long as he keeps that Maserati under control, we can see him coming around the donut portion of the track nice and smooth, having hardly any issue whatsoever to run it. He's running neck and neck currently now with Randy Kirtley down there on green lane. Neither one of them giving an inch. But we can see Tom Payton coming into a little bit of traffic there. He makes it past the traffic nice and easy. Randy Kirtley kind of slowing down for his traffic there on the upper left-hand portion. That's David, or that is Jay Latham up there on white lane. Both of them make it through, and they're still neck and neck. Randy Kirtley pushing a little bit deeper underneath the track there as Tom Payton there on purple lane kind of backing down just a little bit, as he's probably got a little bit harder time to be able to hold through there. But Randy Kirtley's car staying in tow as he breaks up, checks up there by the horseshoe portion of the track right behind Jay Latham. He's going to try to push Jay Latham. Again, Jay Latham gets in a little contact with Randy Kirtley, causing both of them to have an incident. Jay Latham's car coming off there on white lane. Jay Latham running for third position currently right now. As we see the Maserati of Tom Payton coming off there on purple lane through the S turns. Don't know why the track was called right then. Glenn Burden there on black lane, doing the old Bobby Pierce movement. You can hear his body slap up against that wall. And the old CLK Mercedes-Benz. Robert Bishop down on yellow, back in the mix with the guys. As he gives a little bit of a love tap to the guy on the outside of him, coming around there, giving old purple a little mix. Jay Latham and Randy Kirtley saying they're helping out with a little bit of wrecking incidents. But nonetheless, Robert Bishop representing that old Monster Energy LMP car. Looks really nice. White in the front, black on the back. Big incident take place there in the back portion of the donut there. Minute and 57 seconds left to go as Robert Bishop gets his car put back on in the donut portion of the track. Track call there for the back stretch. Glenn Burden's car coming off. When the track gets called too, that causes a lot of people to come off under dead man's corner because they lose all brake when the track gets shut off. Still good rhythm going on here as we do a round robin 3 of 11. David Horton there getting a little bit of slight of a layout up there in the high banks there, but he ended up popping back in, or that might be Jay Latham's car there. That is Jay Latham's car. It's going to have to be moved back down to white as he got slapped up to the high side of red. Ooh, you see David Horton's car kind of do a little bit of opposite tilt flip there during the S turns there, but he gets put back on quick by Paul Woosley. Randy Kirtley there on the inside of, and he gets knocked there underneath the bridge.
Get ready.
Tom Payton still out in the lead, 69 total laps turned, only be bested currently by Glenn Burden and Randy Kirtley. Glenn Burden running a really good black lane. The new body definitely helping his car out for sure from where he ran Thursday night. So good change there. The CLK Mercedes doing well. 3.533 second best lap and a 3.69 medium. That's up there with the best of them right now. Randy Kirtley currently having the best medium with 3.51 and running the best lap of a 3.299. That's Mel Holland, folks. We'll get a red flag rotation here. Going to leave you with the current pinball scores and be right back with you. All right, and we're going back green racing. This time we got, I believe, Paul Woosley coming in. He was on deck. Now our track marshals are Jay Latham, Clay Dame, and my wife. Get an underbridge call. That is acceptable to hit the track call button. Orange Lane Robert Bishop did not get a lap there. You can see he only turned 2 laps. So he needs to be able to get his lap. He came off before there. Kind of focus in a little bit here. Having some issues here. Robert Bishop's car yet again coming off as he was on black lane, fixing to get smoldered down there on the low side. Paul Woosley on red lane. Wasn't here Thursday night to run the race, so he's not yet tried the new track layout. And we can see there already he's turning a 3.722. This was a fast median before we fixed the track. We can see the car of Robert Bishop coming off there on orange lane, but he gets put back in pretty quick. Also, we've seen Paul Woosley come off there in the horseshoe portion of the track, but Clay Dane quick on the button there, quick on the hands, getting those cars put back on in a very timely fashion. Like he's been doing it for years, folks. Tom Payton still out in the lead. His lead dropped to about a 4-lapper now to Glenn Burden. Glenn Burden right there on toe. Robert Bishop right behind him with 210 laps. Randy Kirtley climbing up there as he's already turned 20 laps this heat, running a consistent 3.415. I believe he's got a brand new motor in that car now. Now currently best lap time of the 3.384. Tom Payton's best lap of 3.584.
Get ready.
Rookie rumblers back there. They're in their boxes, messing with their cars, getting excited for the race to come on the tri-oval in the adult rookie class. As we get another bridge call there. My wife pointing at somebody. Been pointing at Paul Woosley. I don't know. He's there at the end of the track anyway. She could be pointing at somebody outside. Got a nice little cluster of cars going here around the donut. Leading the pack there would be Paul Woosley on red. As he slows down quite quickly there on red. A pretty hot day here in Livermore, Kentucky. Oh, as Randy Kirtley's car almost hits the camera here. It comes fully off and hits the side of the horseshoe portion of the track. What a wreck. He got yard sailed there off of Blue Lane. And that's the second big wreck we've seen here today. Little Rumble Series. We've seen Carson fly all the way through the infield. Blue cars are just taking some damage today because Carson's car was a teal-colored car. So, got to watch it out there. It's dangerous. Another car coming off. Coming off a black lane, interestingly enough. It's Tom's car. He must have really been hauling the mail there to come off on black lane. He comes off yet again. This could be an issue there in black lane at the beginning of the corner. I'm not for sure though, but he's going to take a look at his car there. See if he can stay on there. It looked like it happened right there at the beginning of the high bank, so looks like he made it around this time. So evidently not a track issue, but man, it looked kind of suspicious there for a second. Evidently just braids were a little bit too high, causing him to pop out there. But he's still going to hold on to that lead, but he did lose a lap there. And a hard hit up underneath the bridge there. Interesting. Randy Kirtley, of course, I just let the guys know you got 30 seconds before we're going to let the track go green, so they got a little bit of time to work on their cars, not much. But that's 30 seconds they can get if gear gets loose or a tire gets loose or something like that. I see Randy Kirtley here trying to get his nose into shape here, having a horrible blue lane here. Usually it's purple lane with Randy having issues, but for the most part, Randy does keep his race cars in quite good order. We can see here with the best time of 3.310. That's the best out in the field, and the 3.55. That's mail hauling, folks. That's very, very quick times. Tom Payton. About 2.5 laps difference between Glenn Burden and Tom. Robert Bishop there with 2:32, several laps down from second place. But Randy Kirtley there, 2:15 as he's making his climb up. David Horton with 112, and Paul Woosley with 46 just coming in this heat. But yeah, been quite warm here at Livermore today. We had a little bit of a rainstorm earlier this morning. That caused a big bunch of humidity. So it was quite hot when we got here today, probably in the hundreds it felt like, at least in the upper 90s.
Slide. Get ready. Yellow flag.
Got a car off underneath the bridge for a track call there. Clay Dane's going to get that fixed up for him.
Get ready.
Don't mind me, I'm nothing but a big head behind this desk. Probably should try to fix that a little bit. All you can see is my chin hanging out. I feel like I'm a kid in school again trying to take a nap in class. Tom Payton, though, still holding it down. I mean, like I said, 3 laps or so separates him from Glenn Burden. Glenn Burden really on the hunt here. 61 laps this heat, 62 now to Tom 59. But Randy Kirtley was 67 there. He is an outlier for sure. Paul Woosley was 61 on red. That's pretty good on red. We'll see how this develops. I'd like to actually look at Paul versus Randy here today. As I know Paul, he told me he's wanting to get Randy, but he's having some issues catching him with the new track and everything. So we'll see how close he gets to Randy here. Trying to learn that little bit of that rhythm there on red. So Paul definitely been one of the guys to be watching when it comes to taking out old Randy King Kirtley. And it's hard to run against him, especially when he's on a lane where he doesn't have to let off as much. You want to push it harder, and sometimes that's just not what you should do. You should just run those laps. By running a respectable 3.578 best lap time, currently the 3rd best lap time, I believe. And that's on red lane. And we all know how sharp red is on that donut. And it's very easy to kick it out on the donut portion of the track. But if you can keep it in tow, you can run decent times for sure. I heard a car get hit hard. We got 2 cars off in the infield. This is very, very bad.
You in there?
What happened? There was 2 cars that came off. I think that's the Mazzetti of Tom Payton. Yeah, it was big. Big time. 11 seconds left to go in round robin heat 4 of 11. Mark that on your YouTube. Big wreck taking place there. All I could hear was the thump in here inside of the booth, but man. Big. See new racer there, Wyatt Hambrick, grabbing the car there, helping us out. Appreciate that. It's getting hot in this shop, boys. This old computer, and I'm surrounded in like a little bit of a wall here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of a wall here. Probably hide my fingers behind it. But I ain't taking all this heat. That's why I got to take these breaks every heat, because 5 minutes in this little heat box is about all I can take. This computer is cooking me. The CPU in my computer, this will get some of you guys, can run 90 degrees C, and that's what it runs at. It's normal. So for those that know computer talk, you know that's extremely hot. Usually you want to be somewhere around 60 or 70 C, and this one runs 90 C normally. So it's very, very hot. And not to mention it's water cooled, so that water cooler is always, the fan's always going, just pumping that heat. and we get a red flag rotation. That's the end of this heat. Tom Payton's going to be your leader, but Glenn got him from those 5 laps down to 1. Just 1 lap separates him and Tom. Glenn Burton 76.8 there in second place average to Tom's 77. Randy Kirtley and Paul Woosley. Paul Woosley turning his 77 laps there on red lane, but Randy Kirtley turning 84 slap even on red lane, so he's several laps down from Randy. But nonetheless, we'll see if Paul Woosley can make those laps up as we continue on. Of course, Randy Kirtley having a rough little bit of a heat there, getting involved in about 2 or 3 wrecks there, but still was able to make quite a bit of a showing there with 85 total laps. But we'll continue on here. I'm going to let you guys take a brief look at the current standings here at Lanes Raceway, and we'll be right back with you. All right, we're going back green racing. Oh, no. Just a green screen, folks. Tom Payton still out in the lead, but just by 1 lap. Will he be able to hold it off, or will Glenn Burton be able to take that lead from him? As they're almost on the same lap here. We see Glenn Burton there on orange lane to Tom Payton's yellow. Oh, as we get another incident to take place there on the front stretch, like these 2 cars just popped out and hit each other head on. There was another car involved in that incident. I don't know if they got them put back on or not. Like 2 Rams headbutting. I do believe they did get their laps, but nonetheless, they're going to move them back anyway. They made a judgment call there. I'm not for sure if they did or not, but I think the wreck took place somewhere right here if you go back and review it. So that's past the line, which is right here. Anyway. Glenn Burton there on orange. Yet again, we're trying to find Tom Payton there on yellow. And there his car is getting tossed around as he comes back into his own lane, incredibly. Tom Payton's car getting beat to pieces there on the horseshoe. Got beat just enough that it put him right back in his lane. He was able to take off. You just never know what you're going to see in slot car racing, but that was a pretty interesting thing to take place there. You go back and review that. A lot of interesting wrecks taking place tonight. Pretty cool to see. And like I said, we're still running quite well here. Clay Dane getting that car put back on. It was an under the bridge call, but nonetheless, his car rolled on out, so it was a quick fix. Car of David Horton there coming out a little bit on his Porsche, and Glenn Burden there on orange. Glenn Burden now dropping back about a lap or so, so we see a change of position take place between Randy Kirtley and Robert Bishop. Randy Kirtley taking third place from Robert. We get the car of Glenn Burden put back on, and a narrow escape there on the green lane by Paul Woolsey. Him and Paul Woolsey were neck and neck there for a second as Paul Woolsey rushes down low into the donut portion of the track, kind of getting a little bit of breathing room now. Sounds like I'm hearing a little bit of gear slap there going around the horseshoe. Possibly sounded like Paul Woolsey there for a second, but hopefully they don't strip out the gear. Get under the bridge call there. Clay Dane quick to hit the button. Get these cars put back on. Current leader, Tom Payton with 339, followed by Glenn Burden with 337. 2 minutes and 58 seconds left to go in this heat. We can see Robert Bishop kind of dropped back just a little bit from Randy Kirtley. Randy Kirtley there with 289 though. He's going to start making that climb with a median of 3.50. David Horton there with a respectable 3.8, 3.79 now median on blue. Very, very close to what Paul Woolsey's running there, 3.73 off median on green. Best lap time of 3.537. Got a under the bridge call there yet again, as we see Clay Dane, once he heard that, quickly on the button.
Get ready.
Anytime you want to call in, chat, ask any kind of questions, we are live, I believe. I might not have actually started that. Let me make sure. Yeah, we're good. So we're on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook for chatting. You want to join in for our LMP Thunder Series, ask questions about what's going on, or whether or not you want to get involved. You're able to get involved until there is only 8 races left to go. Likewise, for our Rookie Series, both Little Rookie and or Little Rumble and Rookie Rumble Series, you can get involved until there's only 5 races left to go. So the final 5 weekends is pretty much what dictates that. But any other time, as long as you want to get in, you should be able to make those races. And that's what you need. You need to be able to count that many races to be able to be placed in our series. That's why we do it. As we can see, 1 minute and 33 seconds left to go in this heat. Round robin 5 of 11. Tom Payton still hanging on to that lead, 361 laps to Glenn Burden's 358. Randy Kirtley's 309. Randy Kirtley moving on up into the ranks there. An interesting comparison that Tom Payton and Paul Woolsey usually always neck and neck, and as we can tell, 3.70 Tom Payton, a little bit higher than the 3.73 of Paul Woolsey. And we can also see the best lap, 3.561 and a 3.572. So they're right there neck and neck with each other. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to prevail here. Oh, as we see the car of Glenn Burden getting tossed around there on the horseshoe. he quickly gets put back on also. 332nd. Pro slot, be fine. Oh, and the Mazzetti of Tom Payton and the blue car of Randy Kirtley getting involved in a little bit of an incident there on the S-turns. But Clay Dane, like he has been slotting cars his whole life, quickly to slot them in. 36 left to go, and we're going to have a little surprise for the racers after this heat as they are going to check weight. Another car there on the back stretch getting involved in some incidents. We just freshly glued the track, so I'm guessing that's why we're not having as many incidents as we usually do. Paul Woods is going to take a quick look, though, at his car, as it looks like he's lost his body pin. He, of course, has 30 seconds left to go here. Glenn Burton calling the 30 seconds.
Ready.
30 seconds, folks. I counted it in my head, but I might have gave him just a little bit more time than 30 seconds. But nonetheless, I want to be fair to them, folks. That's, you know, fair in the least, fair in the most. So, anyways, I want to be as fair as I possibly can be. It's nothing against Paul Woodley. I'm glad he was able to get his car done in that 30 seconds, but we need to keep to that 30 seconds rule to keep the progress of this race rolling. 5 seconds left to go, and that's going to be the end of this heat. And like I said, I'm going to leave you guys with some pinball scores this time. And I'll be right back with you. Burning up out here, ladies and gentlemen. right, folks, we're going back green racing. Thank you, T. Got me in my water. Couldn't mind it there for a second. Tom Payton still hanging on that lead. I don't know what happened to Glenn, but he lost several laps that last heat. He had him within 1 lap, but now he's, of course, having to make up about 7 or so laps to catch him. Randy Kirtley there in total, about 40 laps difference separates him from Glenn Burden. Glenn Burden's going to be coming off this heat. But we got a nice, smooth transition between these cars. Everything's going well. All these cars running quite well. We see Jay Latham hear that bridge call, and he's able to get the car put back on. Okay.
Get ready.
Well, Action Jackson crossing your screen, folks. He's ready to race in that Rookie Rumble after this. The old oval race that we have every weekend on Sunday. Paul Woosley quick to get over to his station. Must have had some real big issues with his car. Possible axle change, I believe, is what took place. Is my wife was saying, hey, we need a new axle. Jay Latham not able to see that car there as it come out, but he quickly gets it put on there after he got a little whistle blow. Pretty much that's the reason here. We got Robert Bishop over in this area right here. He's supposed to be looking at anything that can be from here to here. And Jay's supposed to be looking at anything that can be under the bridge or anything over here. Sometimes you get just a little bit too close to the track. You can't see in the peripheral. I mean, it is what it is. But I do think that every one of these racers is doing quite well about doing the track marshing here. We're getting some good rhythm going on this week. The new additions to the tracks holding people in, and not to mention that these guys are getting on that track call button when they're supposed to, when the cars are under the bridge or on the backstretch. So that makes the race go a lot quicker instead of every single second that track call button getting clicked. And everybody's being able to get in the rhythm a little bit. And you're starting to see some of these averages, start to formulate. They're in the high 3s in the 4-second range. You see Clay Dane there with 4-second, now in the 3-second median. But 3.9, 3.8, 3.7 is the usual number there that you're starting to see that everybody's running. We do see some outliers there, like Randy Kirtley there with a 3.57, just running as hard as he possibly can. And a best lap of 3.449, like he's trying to break lap records here. If this continues, of course, that's going to be your race winner there for sure. And so far, we've been seeing him turn up into the higher 80s whenever he's racing. I don't know if he's turned a 90-lap race yet, but he is well on his way for sure turning these type of lap times.
He's got one.
Get ready.
Paul Woosley and Tom Payton right there with each other. He was a 3.76, 3.72, running in those 3.7s. 3.528, the best time for Paul Woosley. 3.44, Randy Kirtley, and 3.646 of David Horton. David Horton coming out of there, putting out some best times. Look at this. David Horton turning a 3.577. New to this track, he's only raced on it like 3 times, and here he is putting out 3.577 lap times with a median of a 3.85. He's right there on par with everybody and running some very, very fast lap times. Oh, as we see David Horton there getting involved in an incident. Go ahead and hitting the track call button as Jay knew that it was a big incident that took place there. We see Dana Durham, granddad to a couple of the little rookie rumblers, helping out there, putting the cars on the track there. Also, we see Wild West in there with his buddy Wyatt. They taught SWAT cars there to the granddad. There on red lane, we can see Clay Dane dragging that wall as he goes around the horseshoe. Listen to this, baby. You hear that? That's the back of his body scraping when it goes around red lane. That means he is in full throttle going around there, folks, to be able to make that happen. Very few guys can do it and keep the car still in, but that thing has so much front downforce, he's able to do it. He's turning pretty good times there on red too, 3.8. That's about pace, maybe a little bit above pace. But yeah, I mean, we get a track call there. Paul Woosley's car coming out a little bit, but a nice brake job done by Tom Payton as he breaks up on the straight portion of the track instead of slamming his uncle and sending him sailing down the backstretch. I think Tom Payton, folks, he's turning over to the light side over here. No longer have I seen Tom Payton want to put people in the wall, but I'm seeing some clean racing coming out of Tom. I think maybe a turned leaf of Tom Payton as he's wanting to race people more and more clean. There is a whole lot more honor in racing people clean, a whole lot more honor and respect whenever you run up next to people when you race people clean too. But at the same time, you know, it requires those respect moments like you just seen there with him and his uncle as he brake checked up for Paul Woosley instead of slamming his car. You know, that goes a long way. It's a respect type thing. You know, you respect the racer enough to break up for them and not completely clean their clock. That just goes to show you that these guys do respect each other's time here on the racetrack. Tom Payton, 460, currently our leader, and well-deserved so far. Glenn Burden there with a 454, and third place, Randy Kirtley, as we end this round-robin heat. All right, racers, it's that time. Do not take your cars to the pit. Bring them in and let's weigh them. If you are setting out this time, your car's already in here. We're going to weigh them. This also comes with an extra added caveat. So you'll have as much time as you need in the pits to do whatever you need to do. And when I see the last racer line up, I will hit go on the track and we'll go back green racing.
No. You don't mind after.
Yes, he has, Alicia. He has definitely done well leading the pack, and I'm so pleased in Tom simply because you know Tom's been here since we've opened. Never has really ran slot cars for you. Run some RC before he started with this. But you know what? He's here all the time. He's working on his car. He's put in the work, and it just goes to show that when you put in the work, good things happen. And you know, I've seen Tom Payton and both Paul Woosley, as we seen there a while ago, you know, him brake checking up for Paul. I've seen both of them, you know, running right up there with the top pack. I've seen them bring home victories, and you know, whenever they beat Randy, it's a glorious occasion when any of these racers beat Randy, and they love to celebrate it. And I'll tell you, I'll never forget whenever Tom Payton beat Wally and Randy in the big wing race last month, and the surprised looks on their face. It was worth $1 million to see Tom work so hard at getting up into the front, and he was able to pass them and take them by 6 laps. But I'll be right back with you guys. I'm going to leave you with the current standings here at Lanes Raceway, and I'll see you here in about a minute. All right, we're back from a brief intermission. I think the racers are ready. All right, racers, get ready to watch your lights. We're going to be going by green racing.
I left when I had
So a brief
7 years
intermission there.
experience.
Let the guys let the
I'm
motors cool down. I'm not trying to make them blow motors here. They're going to get plenty enough brushes wear here to cause any kind of incident to take place there. He passing the car over to Glenn Burden. It looks to be Paul Woosley's car having a little bit of issues here tonight as it didn't want to take off. Might have leaned one side of the motor out possibly. A lot of times you get the motors too hot while you're soldering, you can actually separate the magnets from the motor.
You heat it up, it's don't flame.
I think Paul Woosley's car is dead in the water here, folks.
It's got a wire coming in or something, sure.
Paul Woosley's going to have 30 seconds here to work on that car.
Stay in your lane, buddy. Stay in your lane. You must have been next to Tom.
30 seconds. Go. 30-second timer has started for Paul Woosley.
That's what the 30 seconds was for. I heard him announce it, but I couldn't tell what it was. What was your first name?
Dana.
Dana. Well, who was your daughter's then? If you're 6, your daughter shouldn't have been too far under me. Oops.
40 actually. That's the brother.
All right, 30 seconds. Quick 30 seconds. I don't know what Paul's doing. He looks like he's got him another car or something possibly. But we are going to relieve that back to the track marshals there. Like I said, they get 30 seconds to try to fix their issues. Paul having quite a few issues tonight. I think he got a bent axle amongst some other things here. He's going to put in a replacement car, it looks like.
Yeah.
Of course, we'll need to weigh that after this heat for sure. I'll just make a call out to Paul. We don't have to get everybody else involved. I want to make sure that it meets proper weight. If it doesn't, he'll take a 10-lap penalty. We'll move along. In fact, my brother's in Nashville enjoying the race. So that's why Gerbert's not here this race weekend. He's enjoying himself a nice race there in Nashville. I can't say I blame him. Sometimes, you know, racers, they just want to watch other people race. I know I'm one of those people sometimes. As you can see, every weekend I get to watch plenty of racing going on here at Lanes Raceway, and I love watching these guys get better and better. And oh, Paul Woosley giving the boot to a guy on his inside. Paul Woosley shot David Horton completely over the track there. David Horton's car actually hitting the wall before it hit the ground. We see Tom Payton there. Remember Tom Payton down there getting that car for those older gentlemen. Or was it Randy Curley that got the boot?
Between me and Mike.
Could be possibly Randy Curley got a little bit of that action there.
Is that what does it?
Yeah. You gotta be off that trigger when they got get ready to send that car.
And plus her baby brother was between me and my brother.
Exactly what Randy Curley's doing. He walked all the way around the track there. And Paul Woosley, he's going to take what looks to be the rest of the heat off here. Tom Payton still out in the lead, 488 laps, 26 turns here on White Lane. He gets put back on by David Horton there. See Robert Bishop getting the car put back on, and a hard hit yet again there in the high banks. That looks to be either Jay Latham or I believe that is Jay. So probably not a blipping action there took place and caused a little bit of an incident. You can run 100 laps, but it's only one that counts for the non-blip. And it doesn't necessarily have to come off right there where you must blip. So you must blip in this area right here. Let off, get back in it. But if you don't, it just causes the car to be so unsettled and bouncy that it could come off here, it could come off here, it could even come off out in here somewhere. So the key is just make sure your car's tires are not bouncing around there in the back. There's no suspension in these cars. It just takes a little bit and boom, it's off the track good. Randy Curley there and now in second place, taking over David Horton there, 300 laps total. Interesting to see David Horton actually out right now. Must have an issue with his car possibly. I don't know. But he's now currently track marshaling for some reason. He's only turned 11 laps to beat Black. We got a couple racers out this heat. 11 of David Horton and Paul Woosley with 13.
I remember when we knew each other when we were working out there in the field. I filled in for field drive.
If I was David Horton, though, being that I'm not required to track marshal, I would probably work and fix on my car if it was me, try to get back in the race, see where I can finish, for sure.
Robert, I ain't seen you in a while. I'm like, what y'all say? Didn't remember nothing. It's random.
Thankful that Glenn done that because I timed out. I was fixing to go over there and get us going back green racing there. But, of course, you guys seen where my thing timed out. We get the Mazzetti car of Tom Payton come completely off there. He gets put back on white. I'll tell you what, Tom Payton's car very, very fast. We only got 3 cars live racing right now. Randy Curley, Tom Payton, and looks like we have a stalled car there on red. Looks like Jay Latham's. As he comes back to get back in the mix. And Clay Dane. Whoa, babe. Put his car on. He's getting hooked up. T, put that car back on the track. Put that car on the track, T. That's Jay's car. He's trying to get hooked up. I don't know, maybe he still got an issue with the car there, but it could have been where she lifted his car off the track. I don't know. We got several things going awry here right now. Jay Latham's still working on his car. A minute and 56 seconds here left to go.
No, as far as people around the island, everybody remembers Carter's. Carter's was out there at the river where the ferry was. Henry and EW. EW had 3 daughters, and the middle one was my mom.
All right, do you know Kim?
Kim is my mother's first cousin.
Okay, I went to school with her.
Kim and Johnny and Ricky are all
My water is
part of
way down
Dallas.
there. I went ahead and get this on
His
through.
brother EW was my cousin.
Yes, there is a lot going on. It looks like there's a lot of people, like their cars getting messed up, whether it be guide flag mess-ups or whether it be tore up motors, who knows. But, man, there's been a lot of hard-hitting wrecks this race so far. I've seen, in just this race alone, I've already seen 3 cars off into the center on the concrete. So, you know, or it might be 4. I don't know. But there's been several wrecks. I know David Horton's been in the floor, Randy Kirkley's been in the floor, Jay's been in the floor, and I believe the Mazzetti of Tom Payton's been in the floor. So I'm talking some hard hits. These guys are coming off that high banks, and they're getting there at full speed with each other and just touching up just a little bit, and it's causing a lot of damage. We got 1 minute left in this round robin 7 of 11 heat. Tom Payton's still holding on to it. Randy Kirkley quickly in tow, trying his best to catch up with him. Of course, Tom Payton's going to be coming out this heat to do some track marshaling. But so far, he's held it this whole time. For 7 total heats, he's held that white lane down. And that's pretty respectable. As Tom has been doing some nice meetings there, 3.8, 3.9 range, best laps in the 3.7. But probably not going to hold on to that lead for very long. As we can see here, Randy turning best laps 3.4 and 3.54. Not getting involved in too many incidents here currently. You know, David Horton having some issues, Jay having some issues, Paul having some issues. All these guys probably most likely going to have some dropped out races here. Clay Dane's car, a surprise, as you know, the new body has really helped Clay keep that thing on, and he's running in some 3.6 range best lap, 3.8, 3.9 range. So it's good to see him back in the mix. Last week having some issues keeping his car on. New body swap helps keep the car on. Nice lower profile there. As we in that heat, we can see some averages here. Some of them that stick out. Randy Kirkley, 83.7. We see 75.7 of Glenn Burden and 76.1 of Tom Payton. These guys are going to be your front runners, it looks like, for the most part. I'm going to leave you guys here with some current pinball standings here, as we got some people playing pinball right now. These might change, and be right back with you.
Oh, I see it over here, yeah.
Yellow flag. I can see. Get ready. It's a lot easier just chasing 3 cars. Go. Yellow flag.
Everybody leaves, they're all right there. Green, orange, blue.
What are they on? Blue. Get ready.
They're on green, orange, and blue. They're all side together. Yeah, they're all side to side.
Go.
Let's tell her to choose.
Keep doing what you do.
Get ready.
Alicia, yes, they would definitely want to drop some of them races during an enduro. But until they get the 5 races, they might as well keep the laps that they've got. Got to do just a little bit of work here, and I'll be right back to racing. Sorry about this.
I did?
Flag.
Okay, 1 second, ladies and gentlemen.
Get ready.
All right. But yeah, Alicia, like I said, some of these guys, they're getting into their later portion of the race. We can kind of swap over here real quick to scene 3. As you can see, Randy Curley out in the lead right now. Clay Dane to follow, a couple hundred laps difference. So we'll swap over here. And we can see that Bruce Bullington's already got 7 of his 8 races done. Glenn Burden, 7 of 8. Randy, 6 of 8. Paul Woosley, 6 of 8. So Paul Woosley having a rough night tonight. This will be his 7th race. Well, he might as well keep that race, because let's say he doesn't make all 8 races. Well, those laps are still going to help him. Now, we want him to make those 8 races. But after that, all races from that point forward, we're just going to take the one race that they've done the worst in and swap it out for one that they've done better. And it's just like how we've ran every one of our series here at Lanes Raceway before. We always just swap out those lesser lap races for the better races. And it looks like definitely Paul Woosley, and if David Horton was in the series, he would definitely want to drop this one out too when it comes to that time. But Paul Woosley right now total laps of 228. He just come in and bought a Eagle motor, so his motor evidently went through the brushes and stuff like that, or he's dropped a magnet out, armature through a winding. Who knows what could happen with those motors? Sometimes it's a many of different things. So just a little bit of bad luck. It was almost like everything Paul was throwing at his car to just keep it in the race, something was thrown right back at him to keep him out of it. But he'll come back stronger next time, I'm sure. Paul Woosley, nothing gets him down. I've been trying to root for him for a bit. I've been wanting to see him put Randy in his place a little bit. You know, I've been wanting to see Tom give a little bit to Randy. Randy's kind of sitting there on cloud nine, enjoying life as a constant winner here at Lanes Raceway. But I'm starting to see some of these guys really develop their skills and be quite quick. And the reason I know is I go out there when we have some free time and race with these guys. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm giving it everything I got to keep with Paul. And literally the only thing that I know when you get to that skill level
And they held him off.
is just keep it on the track. And that's the only thing that's differentiating them from Randy Kirtley is run those times that you're running against me, but keep it on the track. And you can beat Randy. But I'll tell you, you slip up one time and you'll have your lunch. And that's just how it is here at Lanes Raceway. It's good actually to have a guy like Randy because you're always shooting for his times and shooting to see like what is Randy running and everything. And it keeps you pushing to that higher mark. A lot of people say, well, that's a disadvantage. It's not really good. I don't like that I'm always having to race Randy. But here's the thing. There's a lot of places that you go to, there's not a Randy there. Everybody's really equal, and it could blow your head up a little bit. And then you go out to some of these other racetracks, you think you're good, and you get out there with those guys, and they smoke you because there's a bunch of Randys there. So it's always best to have like a track pro, and I guess Randy Kirtley is that track pro. He's been racing slot cars his whole life. He built this slot car track. I mean, he's very engineered, type-minded. He'll help you with anything. He wants you to win against him just as bad as he loves winning. So Randy is very, very much a very special person here at Lanes Raceway. Plus, he's my dad, and I know that he loves everybody like I do. So he wants them to succeed, but he doesn't want them to succeed if he's got to do it for them. He wants everybody to make their own way and succeed and do well by putting in the effort, because the effort's what actually makes winners. And I think if you put it in long enough, there's nothing that can keep you from being like Randy. I mean, you can actually be better than Randy. I mean, for instance, my brother, he comes in here and races Randy, and it chews all over Randy whenever he comes in and beats him by a few laps. But, you know, that's just how it goes sometimes. 57 seconds, we'll be going back green racing. I'll leave you yet again with the series standings. If y'all want to, take a picture of this on your phone so you can keep track of it. I'm going to constantly update this as we go through the series.
Restarts in 5 seconds.
5 seconds left to go, and we'll be going back green racing. As we can see, this race day is dwindling. You know, a lot of people getting dropped out of these races. So, you know, it's been a tough race weekend for a lot of people. As we see another stalled car there, looks to be Joe Latham's possibly his car being stalled out. We get a yellow flag there. Tom Payton looking at the car. I trust Tom Payton's judgment when it comes to making sure cars can run well. And it could be, ladies and gentlemen, that these cars, they can't take these long heats with those low gear ratios. Like I said, this past Thursday, Randy burnt through his brushes, ladies and gentlemen. These 5-minute heats, burnt through his brushes there at the end to end up having to retire his car because he didn't want to crash out his frame. The motor still ran, but he had zero brake, and he didn't want to risk it to tear up his chassis that he's been working on. He's got his weight and stuff sorted in, and one good bump and hit could cause that to happen. We got Glenn Burden there, timer in it, and I trust Glenn Burden's judgment to hit that button. I can see that he's counting, and as soon as he gets done, we're ready to go. Well, that is 30 seconds for Jay Latham this heat. He won't receive another 30 seconds for sure. But like I said, very exciting here. I mean, I know a lot of people coming out, but sometimes, you know, you got to replace those motors as the races go. And it just gives me ideas, right? Because in Formula One, you know, they only get a certain amount of powertrains per year. And I think it's 3. And once they burn through them, they're just done. So maybe start up a series similar to that, to where we could like limit how many motors these guys can put in it, and that'll make them really make wise decisions on their gear ratio. Like, what can I do to make my car stay healthy? But you know, 5 minutes is a long time to run a car. A lot of heat built up in the motor. These brushes are receiving a lot of wear there. See my mom and my uncle coming in there from outside. But like I said, I love always doing different types of races and different types of things here. And this latest enduro race, I'm just excited about. I mean, I don't like that people are out of the race, you know, but at the same aspect, I think that they're going to probably change their gear ratios around maybe, and they might be able to make it through the rest of the series on maybe one motor. They won't run as many laps for sure, but yeah, it is possible, I would say. See Glenn Burden there getting that car put back on. We now see Randy Kirtley there taking the lead right before he's going to come out for his final 2 set-outs there, 6:04. Clay Dane there in second place with 388 down on purple, and we got a gear spinning. I can hear a gear spinning there. It seems the one on blue of Jay Latham. Sounds like he's having some rough luck tonight. That gear straight spun in 2 there, probably down to the plastic most likely. I mean, I hate to see it, you know. These guys, they come once a week, they look forward to it, and just have a bad race weekend. I remember my brother when he was racing dirt, you know, they would get prepared, they'd go out there, and he'd make 1 lap sometimes, and it would blow to pieces. And when it would blow to pieces, they'd be bringing it home. They'd drive 4 or 5 hours away sometimes to go to a race and then be back home, you know, because things like that. Or they would get ready and they would go, and then they would miss weigh-in and wouldn't be able to race at all because, you know, they just didn't make it on time. So it's one of those situations that's just a racer's life, essentially. But it shouldn't keep you down. If anything, it should keep you pushing forward, trying to make your stuff even better the following week. Well, I see if my car ain't handling good, I'm coming back stronger next week. I'm not letting them get me down, and that's all I'm going to talk about the whole week, following week. And being that, you know, this track is so close to my home, I'll tell you what I'd be doing. I'd be coming in, testing and tuning every single day. And then on race day, I'd swap out motors, gears, the whole 9. I'd resort the front of my guide flag wires, and make sure they're stripped new. I make sure everything is pristine, brand spanking new type right before I started a race. And that would be every single time I race. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to have any snap guide flag wires. I'm not going to have a bent chassis when I get into the race. I'm not going to have tires that are too old. I mean, it's going to be pristine. When it gets to that point where it's just too low, I'm buying me another set of $9 tires. You know, when you're racing for this kind of money in one of these LMP Thunder Series, it's a no questions asked. It's like, I'm running for the front or I'm not running at all. You know, but that's kind of mindset that I've always had. I'm not saying that's the perfect mindset by no means, but I know that's the type of mindset that all these guys, for the most part, you'll see in this series kind of have. Some of them come just to have a good racing time and get in the series, maybe win a couple bucks here and there, but just run with the boys, you know, and be a part of that atmosphere. But I know Glenn Burden, he's always pushing. I know that Tom Payton, Paul Woosley, Randy Kirtley, these guys are always pushing. And that's just to name a few. You know, there's many more than just them. You know, some guys are just natural talents, like David Curley. He's a natural talent when it comes to racing. That's my brother. And I'm not trying to puff him up or nothing, but, I mean, he could take a car right out of the box. Literally, that's what he done. He took a car literally out of the box in here before he started racing, and he beats Randy with it. You know, Randy over there works on his car, comes in here usually about 4:30, 5 o'clock, sits over there, and he works on his car until he gets it perfect. Once he gets it perfect, he's ready to roll, you know. And that's the type of racing and kind of mindset you just got to have. And I love to see it when these guys take it kind of serious. They ask me questions. They hold what I say to somewhat of a resolve. I'm starting to see them now change a little bit, and now they're moving over to talking to Randy and others because they're in it. These guys are in it. They've already ran the gear ratio. They don't need to come to me and ask me about gear ratios. They've already ran those gear ratios. They're coming in. They're running their own specific gear ratio. We see there Robert Bishop. He's doing the blip there on red. One of the only guys I've seen tonight actually do it. Everybody else kind of risking it for the biscuit. But we can see only three racers out there currently running. Everybody else, they're setting out or they're out of the race. And that's round robin 9 of 11. Like I said, going to leave you with pinball scores here. So I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be right back with you. All right, I just want to say a special thanks to David Horton for sticking around helping track marshal. Of course, I found out what was wrong. He stripped out his spur gear there in the rear. He had a 32 S&K angled spur gear. He stripped it out. We can see only 3 cars still remain here on the track. Jay Latham's still out currently as he's working diligently on his car. On the black lane there, Clay Dane, 445 total laps. We see Glenn Burton there, 461 there on red lane, and he tries his best to push forward. I keep getting messages here. Oh, it's like my brother messaged to me, and my wife messaged at the same time. how many do we have tonight? 7 racers? 8? Good. I love to hear it. My wife's taking pictures with a couple of our GRCs that we have here at Lanes Raceway. For all those that know, we are we are a fully stocked hobby shop for slot car racing. We sell Mid-America, JK, Mazzetti. I mean, you pretty much name it, we sell it. So if it's slot car racing and it's popular, we probably have it. Give us a call. If we don't have it, we can get it. So, and we sell stuff at MSRP or better. A lot of times we hold a lot of sales out in our front vestibule, and we'll do little sales here and there and have some stuff in there that you might be seeking to want. And, you know, plus we do custom work here when it comes to bodies and chassis and other stuff. So definitely keep an eye out for us there. And, you know, if you want to get involved, we do work on the cars themselves too. So that's an extra benefit. We don't charge a lot to work on the cars. If I have to use sorter, usually it's anywhere from $3 to $5 extra charge on top of what the parts cost. So not a very greedy man. You'll find that out. I love seeing people smile. I love seeing people happy. And my best child, I was just mentioning this earlier, one of my best childhood memories was when I was a kid racing slot cars. I love it, and I love seeing these kids get excited. We can see Wyatt there hanging on to a GRC there at the High Banks corner of the Orange Track, watching these L&P racers run. And you know, I remember being that kid. I remember sitting there running these cars and spending my nights there. My dad taking me and my best friend Daniel, and you know, my brother and his friend, best friend Jay at the time. And you know, I mean, we spent time down there racing in Owensboro, and met some guys that I wouldn't meet for 20 or so years later, and we ended up being in the electrical union together. It's just funny how minds work, you know, and you're attracted to certain things, and you end up, you know, meeting those people later on in life, and it was pretty cool. You know, Cody Manley and trying to think right offhand here, Andy Daniels. I mean, Andy Daniels and Cody Manley, I went through the union with them. Didn't find out till, you know, 20-something years later, they raced at the same place I did, Slot City in Owensboro. And then I go back and I look at some of the pictures and stuff that Dale and them made of us, and there they was, right there next to me. You know, some of my biggest rivals ended up being some of my closest friends when I got older. So, you know, that's also a shout out to some of those guys. You know, I mean, good electricians for sure. I grew up with them in the electrical field. I grew up with them on slot car racing. But slot car racing is a great hobby. It could, I'm not going to say it's super cheap, but at the same time, as hobbies goes, it's a pretty cheap hobby. And you can have great times. Like I said, watching these guys race. We're doing live streams. We're doing stuff on these slot cars that's never been done. And the guys are getting involved. They're enjoying it. You know, cheap parts, cheap racing, but at the same time, the competition's there if you want it. 41 seconds left to go in this second to the last heat here on this L&P, and it looks like we're going to close in on good time here. So we started the race at 5:30, and it looks like we're going to end up right at about 30 minutes over time. But like I said, good time here compared to last week where we were a couple hours over. So the new method is definitely working. It seems like if we got enough people, we're going to have a couple set outs. And they're going to track marshal, and I'm just thankful for the guys sticking around that had some tough beats there on their cars, but maybe they're getting their cars ready for the Rookie Rumble. All those that are involved in that, I know Jay Latham, he's in it, and we'll see how that works out. So that's the end of the heat there. I'm going to leave you this time with some pinball scores, and I'll see you guys here in a couple minutes. All right, so T's in here. She's helping out a little bit. Now she's probably got a little bit of time to go there. We see another stalled out car, Robert Bishop's car, coming to a complete stall ending there on the blue lane. And we get a track call there for the Mazzetti of Tom Payton. He's back in for the final heat. 4 minutes and 52 seconds left to go. People are dropping like flies, ladies and gentlemen. It's like everybody's motor decided to quit on them all at once here. It's the Enduro. It's finally hitting. So after, 7 races, these guys' motors are finally just deciding they want to lay down. We thought this would have been more of a common occurrence with these guys running these low gear ratios, but it seems like it took a little bit longer to happen than expected. It took so long to happen that personally, I didn't think it was going to happen. So they almost made it all the way through the series without really having any detrimental hardships when it comes to their cars. We see Robert Bishop over there still looking over his car, trying to figure out what's going on there. It could be low, and it might not be his motor. It could just be simply braids were too low. His car takes off for a second and comes back to a complete stall there. We get a flag call there. Randy Curtis is going to go over there and take a look at that car and make sure things are on the up and up. Sometimes these cars get bent to the point that you really just can't do much to them, and they need to be rebent. That's why I was talking about earlier. I love just taking them all the way back to bone stock, getting them nice, good, and flat, taking all the pans off, flattening them out on a nice flat surface. I tell you, Koran, granite, those type of surfaces that never really change, those are best. I'm not saying Formica covered wood ain't bad, but if you get the wood wet in any way underneath, it ends up swelling and you end up getting it to where it's not equal all the way across. But like I said, if you find you a good flat surface and you work on your cars, you get them jigged back out perfect, there's just that sweet satisfaction of watching those wheels spin perfectly fast and free and getting yourself ready for race day. We see Randy Kirtley there quickly getting that Mazzetti, the red car of Tom Payton. We see that rivalry starting back up between Glenn Burton and Tom Payton here with 4 minutes and 12 seconds left to go. Red and green, these are the lights or the lanes you want to kind of focus on. They are neck and neck, folks. Oh, and then Glenn Burton comes off under the bridge. We see Randy Kirtley seeing if he could get it in a quickly fashion. He wasn't able to, so we're going to see Jay Latham on the other side getting put back in. That pop noise you heard, that was a free game here at Lanes Raceway Pinball. Somebody won that game or they got a lucky draw there and was able to match their last 2 numbers. I love hearing that noise. I love hearing people get free games here at Lanes Raceway on the pinball. One of my favorite noises. It's scary at first. It's a loud little pop noise, and it will scare you. It's like Wyatt and Weston having a little horseplay action going on there. It's like Wyatt might have stole Weston's hat there. We see Jay Latham there getting that red car of Clay Dane put back on. Clay very impressed with our body mounting skills here at Lanes Raceway. He says, man, that is a daylight and dark different type of cars. He's running neck and neck there with Glenn Burton. Both of these guys coming around the high banks portion of the track under the donut. And Glenn Burton, or Clay Dane's car ends up coming off on the donut portion, pushing a little bit too hard. But you'll have that. 2 minutes and 57 seconds left to go, and we can see that gain of Glenn Burton taking over Tom Payton there. He's 2 laps ahead, where he was several laps down from Tom before. Now he's a good 3 laps ahead, turning 36 total laps this heat. Tom Payton 31, Clay Dane 33 with his new car, and Robert Bishop there with 22. Everybody else either sitting out or they have bowed out because of car trouble. So it looks like Randy Kirtley kind of started the trend with motors blowing and issues when it comes to cars. But, I'm kind of thankful now that my VR headset isn't coming in, simply because now it looks like we're going to have to make another order here because there's going to be several guys come in and get motors and gears and stuff like that from the issues that they're having this race weekend. Definitely don't want to keep my guys from having what they want. I love having exactly on stock what the guys want. That way they're ready at a moment's notice to get out there and do some racing. Another pop out there. People are just winning pinball left and right here at Lanes Raceway. You love to hear it. I love that noise. 2 minutes and 1 second left to go. Lynn Burden out in a substantial lead now. 49 total laps turned to Tom Payton's 43. 581 total laps this race alone. Just going to go back to some previous looks here. And we can see that Lynn Burden, total laps from last week, 3,489. So that's going to definitely increase his lap count. Randy Kirtley quick on the draw there. Used to be called octopus arms because he puts cars on like he's got 8 arms, folks. He's quick at putting them cars on. Old school man when it comes to doing tracking. As for sure, they didn't have track calls back in his day. They just either put the cars on or you suffered loss. But I'll tell you what, Lanes Raceway's got it all, folks. We can shut the track off. We can help these guys get in good rhythm. And so far tonight, what a race it's been. 11 beautiful heats here, 1 minute left to go. These guys running their hearts out. Lynn Burden 6 laps up, 5 laps up from Tom Payton, and he's holding it strong as we get a track call there. 55 seconds left to go. A car off underneath the bridge. We're going to end this in a beautiful fashion here, and then we'll go over a little bit of who's going to win and who got second and third. Get a picture of them in front of the podium, of course. Maybe have a little bit of a conversation with 1 or 2 of them out there, and get ready to start up another stream for our Rookie Rumble. Clay Dane, 65 laps. He's getting one up on Tom. Tom having a little bit of issues, it seems, there on Red Lane. Clay Dane getting his car slapped back on by Jay Latham there on the donut portion of the track. And we got an under the bridge call here. Randy Kirtley jamming his arm under there. Hopefully he don't peel the skin off. He was able to get it in a timely fashion though and get it put back on there. This time hitting the yellow flag. Probably a good call to do that. 10 seconds left to go. 6 laps up. Lynn Burden making impressive time. 77 laps total. Clay Dane in the 70s also. Tom Payton just 1 lap from 70s. Robert Bishop 57 during his time here. And 3 seconds left to go. We're going to do some interviews here with the leaders here as we end this race. Lynn Burden going to end that race there on top, but we'll see how well he sticks. Probably second place, I would say. And as it comes through, we can see he's in second place. Randy Kirtley 660, Glenn Burden 611, and Tom Payton 604. Our top 3. All right. Randy Kirtley, Glenn Burden, Tom Payton. Can we get a picture made with you in front of the podium real quick? And I'll go out there and we'll do a quick interview with these guys and see how they're doing, and I'll be right back with you.
Kids, away your cars in.
Randy Kirtley, how does it feel to win another one here at Lanes Raceway?
I was able to get through it with a bent car.
The bent car, turning great laps even with the bent cars, ladies and gentlemen. Clay Dane, I see you got the old PlayStation Mobile. How did she work for you tonight?
Perfect, like a dream.
Like a dream. That's what I love to hear. Like a dream. Woo! Sweet. I appreciate it for helping track marshal. All right, I got to talk to Glenn. Glenn Burden. The old CLK Mercedes-Benz coming in clutch this week. 611 total laps we see there. Looks like a little bit of work to be done. Are you planning on reeling in on Randy Kirtley this season?
I'm going to try my best. I'm already in front of him because I've run one more race than he has. I'm going to try to stay in front of him, but it's going to be hard to do. But look there, he beat me by 49 laps, so it's going to be hard to do.
All right. Tom Payton, Mazzetti, I heard earlier that you might be retiring on Mazzetti the body. But coming out there, third place, holding down for the majority of the race long in first place till you ended up setting out. Once you set out, it looks like it gave the boys a little bit of a chance to come back and get you. A lot of cars wrecking out, a lot of motors blowing up. How do you think you fared out of this race?
Motor's definitely starting to go down. But other than that, probably good.
Well, that's good. I'm going to have T get a picture of you guys, first, second, and third in front of the Victory Lane podium here at Lanes Raceway. We're going to end this stream here, folks, for our L&P Thunder Series. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to start up here shortly for our Rookie Rumble, and I'll see you guys then.